In Photoshop, when you're working on projects, you sometimes have a lot of layers. Now, in this project, we haven't got that many layers, only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers, so we can deal with this quite easily. But sometimes you do some work and you go, you know what, this collection of layers here, I'm never going to touch them, I'm always going to keep them as they are, and they're just adding to the amount of items there. And also opening up multiple files means that it slows the computer down. On this machine it's not a big problem, but if you're using really high resolution images and you've got 30 or 40 of them, having just 2 or 3 will be a bit easier to use. Now, I'm not going to go into the virtues of this, but for most work at university, you're not going to be dealing with that large images. So if you just go and create a group, and we can double click here and call this group stuff, we can just pick a layer here, and we can drag the layer into the group. Oops. And let's just do that again. So these 2 layers are in there. We can collapse the group and it's nicely contained. So if you're finding that there's too many layers for you to work on, using groups is a great way. Now, some people would use merging layers. What this is you select the layers which you want together, and you can right click and say merge. And what it does is it turns those 2 separate images into one. So it's one layer. Undo that. I do not recommend doing this because if you merge these 2 together, so I'll do it again, right click, actually double click on Mac, but it's right click and everything else. So merge layers. If I now go, ooh, that blue's not very good, I'd rather have that green, I can't do it. Or I can, but it's got a lot of work. So if I just undo my work, which is Command Z or Control Z on Windows, I can now change that colour to anything I like very easily. So merging layers is not a good idea. Another way you can do merging is at the top here, you can do merge visible, which is everything which is turned on is merged into one layer. That layer that was turned off has been kept apart. Undo that. And the third version is Flatten Image, which means everything is down into one layer. Now, I didn't go through this because it's just not something I need to do. Now, I said, but the benefits are making things easier and making things a bit faster. Making things easier, I said before, use folders. The reason why this is not particularly good at university is because when you hand in your PSD files like this, I can open it and go, oh look, you've got lots of layers here, I can see what you've done, I can see the work, and I can see how you did it. And you know, there could be some things you do which I look at and go, I don't know how you do that. I want to look in your PSD and find out so I can learn from you. That is possible. But if I receive a Photoshop file for this image, and I go, oh, that's kind of interesting, I want to see how you do it. And what I receive is, flatten, is this. Now, what is this? Did you make this? Maybe. But maybe what you did is, I'm going to try and find the file here. Go to Fashion, Week 3. There's that example, Fashion Image 2. We open this here. We can see that's the image which we did in the edit. If I just open that with Photoshop, you know, you could have found this image online somewhere. File, Save As. Let's hit the desktop and Save As Photoshop file. Give it a cool name, so My Image, save. And now on the desktop, we have myimage.psd. There it is. So we treat flattened Photoshop images as plagiarism because we cannot tell if you made it or someone else did, or maybe your friend did it. Because if we take this one here with all the layers, if we have any doubt on how you did this, and we think maybe your friend did this, we can get you down, sit you and say, hey, how did you do this? Please explain this. And if you can explain it, that's completely fine. We know you did it. So do not use the merge layers, merge visible, or flatten image for coursework at the University of Manchester. But if you're not at University of Manchester and you want to flatten things, make things easier, you you can do, but I would definitely use groups. So that's all for today, and I hope that clears up what the difference between merging and other bits are. Oh, one last thing. When you save an image for web, so I'm going to do save for web JPEG, because that's kind of a very common format, and I'm going to save this to desktop. That will just flatten the image by default. So that gets rid of all the layers, gives you one flat image. So yes, saving for web as a JPEG does flatten it, but what we're talking about in Don't Flatten Images is talking specifically about merge layers and merge visible and flatten. Okay, so I hope that sorts everything out, and enjoy using Photoshop.